Every year, my village holds a ceremony to honor Buddha. This ceremony includes a competition joined by all the young men. The task is to be the first to retrieve the sash placed on top of a tree. This tree is very large and has many branches, making it difficult for anyone to climb. Ceremonies like this are normal. There are no hard feelings even if someone is pushed, pulled, or falls. A few moments later, someone finally managed to get the sash, and that person was me. After the ceremony and competition ended, all the villagers gathered in front of the Buddha statue to pray together. Later that night, I practiced a little while being accompanied by my uncle, but not long after, my teacher came and told me not to use the martial arts he taught me carelessly. The next day, the village was shocked by an unexpected incident. The head of the Buddha statue had been stolen. As the temple guardian, my uncle said that the theft happened around dawn. He saw the thief but was struck from behind until he lost consciousness. The thief's name was Doni. He also came from this village, but now he lives in Bangkok doing various dirty jobs, one of them being selling ancient items to rich collectors. A few days passed. Since the Buddha's head disappeared, my village suffered a severe drought. The villagers believed Buddha might be angry and had given this punishment. From then on, my teacher asked me to go to Bangkok and retrieve the Buddha's head. This was my first time doing anything like this. Fortunately, a father in the village had a son who had gone to Bangkok long ago and never returned. His name was Hamli. The father gave me his address, hoping I could find his son so he might help me search for Doni. Before I left, some villagers gathered a small amount of money as my travel provisions. They truly hoped I would return with the Buddha's head. Long story short, I arrived in Bangkok. Using the address I brought, I finally met Hamli. He was a different person now. He even pretended not to know me in front of his friend. When his friend left, Hamli took me to his rented room and told me to take a shower. At first, I didn't suspect anything, but it turned out he left with all the money in my bag. I didn't just give up. I chased after him until I found him in a bar. Inside this bar, there was a small arena used for free fighting. People placed bets on whoever they chose, including Hamli. He used my money to gamble. After I found him, I asked him to return my money, but lost bets couldn't be refunded. I didn't care. I still wanted it back. But when I approached the lobby, my steps were stopped. I didn't know that stepping onto the arena meant I was the next challenger. Without any explanation, the man in front of me was about to throw a punch, but I'm sorry I knocked someone out until he fainted. Everyone in the bar went silent for a moment, then cheered as if they were unsatisfied with the fight ending so quickly. Maybe I was the first to finish someone that fast here. After that, I was considered the new winner. The man handed me a large amount of money as the prize, but I refused it. I came here only to take back my money. I left the bar, followed by Hamli, who begged me to keep fighting so he could earn money to pay his debts. I thought he would help me here, but I was wrong. I decided to leave him and try on my own. The next day, I accidentally ran into Hamli again, who was being beaten up by several men. I ignored him, but when one of the men hit the woman he was with, I couldn't let that happen. I fought with them for a moment, but I didn't take it too seriously. After the thugs left, I continued my journey while being followed by Hamli. He thanked me and said he would help me find Doni, but before that, he begged me to fight at the bar just once. I still refused. That wasn't my purpose for being here. Not long after, the thugs I had fought earlier returned, but this time there were many more of them. They came back because they still had unfinished business with Hamli, but it seemed I would also be dragged into it. I didn't want to create more problems. I preferred to avoid them even if they kept chasing me. At that moment, I got separated from Hamli, and we both tried to handle things on our own. I could have fought them all with the martial arts my teacher taught me. But besides the martial arts, my teacher also warned me not to use it carelessly. As long as I could still run, then I should run. There would be a time to use it, maybe to protect my family, or if there was a danger that truly forced me to. A few moments later, Hamli and I met again at a dead-end road with a high wall. I could climb it, but Hamli couldn't. Here, I intended to ignore him again, but he promised he would help me. So I reached out my hand to help him escape from the pursuing thugs. At night, Hamli brought me to the bar because he knew Doni was usually there. I tried looking for him, hoping he might be among the crowd. While I was searching, the man with the microphone, the one who recognized me from before, began telling everyone that the new champion had arrived. That announcement made a big man start provoking me, trying to lure me into the arena. He had just won a match and acted arrogantly. People here called him Big Bear. He kept shouting things in English. I didn't understand the words, but I knew he only wanted me to step into the ring and fight him. I didn't care, and I stayed focused on what I came here for. He didn't stop. Now he was even using a woman to lure me in. I still ignored him, until suddenly, a skinny man stepped into the arena and challenged Big Bear. It seemed he was angry and couldn't accept what Big Bear had done earlier. My steps stopped. I could only watch as the skinny man was beaten mercilessly inside the arena. Hamley begged me to do something. If not, the skinny man would surely die. I stayed silent, and silent. But when Big Bear hit an innocent woman, I couldn't let it happen. Enough. That had gone too far. I stepped into the arena, facing the big man. I didn't care how strong he was. With the martial arts techniques I had learned, I would fight him. In this fight, I kept targeting his head, aware of his tall and massive body. It didn't take long before I finally defeated Big Bear. I gave him a respectful bow as an apology, even though he was my opponent. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. As I was about to leave the arena, someone attacked me from within the crowd. I decided to ignore it, but apparently that wasn't acceptable to them. They threatened me with a gun, forcing me back into the arena. I had no choice but to fight again, this time against Tochiro, a fighter who relied heavily on his legs. Unlike Big Bear, this time I targeted my opponent's lower body. I admit he was fast, but that didn't mean I lacked the technique to take him down. He appeared to be giving up, but it turned out he was only faking it so he could attack me from behind, and that was a foolish move. After defeating 2 opponents, the match still wasn't over. Another man entered the arena. His name was Crazy Dog. The people in the bar seemed frightened when he appeared, and I understood why. This man would use any means necessary to win. Bottles, chairs, tables, anything he could grab, he would use. No wonder his presence was unwelcome here. Crazy Dog was capable of destroying the entire bar just to defeat his opponent. The fight dragged us up to the 2nd floor, where I discovered a group of people gambling on each match. I paused for a moment, but Crazy Dog rose again with a bit of help from an old man and his guards. I didn't retreat. I kept fighting him until I knocked him back down into the arena. After that, another man entered. I thought he was going to fight me, but instead, he threw a coin as a sign of respect and admiration. His action was followed by everyone in the bar. They applauded while throwing their coins. I returned to Hamley in May, and that was when I saw Donnie. I tried to chase him, but he escaped. I lost his trail there, but Hamley promised to help me again the next day. When we returned to the apartment, the landlord was already there, demanding payment that had been overdue for 3 months. Since Hamley didn't have enough money that day, I gave a ring as collateral, even though it was a gift from my younger sister given to me as provision for this journey. The next day, Hamley and I come to Donnie's apartment, luring him out using a hired woman. When we managed to get inside, we found that Donnie had already killed a prostitute with poison. There was nothing we could do there, and Donnie managed to escape. Outside, Donnie called his men to stop me and Hamley. We didn't give up, even though it turned into a dangerous chase. I managed to jump onto the vehicle Donnie was riding in, but he was reckless enough to jump out just to avoid being caught. Donnie switched to another vehicle, while we had to deal with his gang first. At that point, Hamley and I decided to split up so it would be easier to chase Donnie later. I tried to slow the enemies down by leading them into difficult roads. I crashed my vehicle into a construction crane, causing it to swing and smash into the enemy vehicles. When no one was chasing me anymore, I went back to look for Donnie. He hadn't gone far, probably thinking he was already safe. With the roof of my vehicle already destroyed, I could easily jump onto Donnie's vehicle. But at that moment, he drove toward the sea, and that was when I saw something I never expected. It turned out that Donnie's work wasn't just done once or twice. It had become his business. Beneath the calm water, I saw many Buddha statues stored there. I looked around, hoping the head of the Buddha from my village was there, but I couldn't find it. After this incident, the news reported the discovery of ancient statues that had been stolen and traded illegally. The news eventually reached Donnie's boss. He became worried about being dragged into the trouble caused by his subordinate. Because of that, the boss ordered Donnie to bring Hamley to him so he could negotiate and offer a bribe. When returned to the rented room, Hamley said that if I wanted the Buddha's head and May to be freed, I had to fight the boss's bodyguard that very day, but with one condition: I had to lose. The boss wanted to prove to his gambling friends that his defeat yesterday was nothing but a coincidence. So that day, I was forced to fight, knowing the outcome would be unfair. Long story short, I faced the boss's bodyguard, a man named Sam. He was a fighter from Myanmar, a man willing to do anything for his boss. In the ring, I had to put on an act. I still punched, kicked, and dodged his attacks, even though in the end I was thrown out of the ring, injured and in pain. After the match ended, someone picked up Hamley and me and brought us before the boss, full of arrogance. The boss handed us some money as payment for our work, and as promised, he said he would give us the Buddha's head. But when I opened the box, the Buddha's head was not there. We had been toyed with. Worse, the boss ordered his men to kill us quietly. After the boss left, his men prepared to execute me, but I took advantage of the moment when one of them was attaching a silencer to his weapon. At that moment, the situation spiraled out of control. I had to be smart and read the situation carefully as the enemies were using firearms. During the chaos, my pants were splashed with gasoline, and my leg was slightly burned by the flames. There was only one enemy left, Donnie, who tried to shoot me from his motorcycle. Without thinking twice, I leapt forward and took him down. Filled with rage, I forced Donnie to tell me where his boss was. He said the boss was in a cave not far from here. Hamley and I immediately rushed there on a motorcycle and soon arrived at the cave he mentioned. There, we split up again. Hamley sneaked in quietly, while I had to face several guards first. After getting past the first line of defense, I was finally able to go deeper inside. I saw a massive stone being carved into the shape of a Buddha's head. At the same time, the boss revealed the Buddha's head from my village, making my anger surge even more. As I moved toward him, once again I was confronted by several guards, and they were strong. One by one, I took them down until only a few remained. I began to struggle when one of them attacked me with a chainsaw. Fortunately, Hamley came to help, even though his arm had been broken by the enemy. I did not hesitate. I retaliated by breaking the enemy's leg. I checked on Hamley briefly, but he told me to stay focused until I reclaimed the Buddha's head. Before facing the boss's strongest bodyguard, I consumed the potion my master had given me and tied its wrapper around my hand. He was strong, but last time I had been forced to lose. This time, there would be no acting. I would face him until it truly ended. At one point, I managed to knock Sam down, but in that very moment, he injected something into his body, and it made him even stronger. I was exhausted, as if all my strength had truly drained away. But then, I remembered the people in my village. They must have been waiting, hoping for the Buddha's head to return. In that instant, my strength seemed to come back to me. I turned the tide and finally defeated Sam. As I started walking toward the boss, he shot at me with his pistol. Once again, Hamley saved me, even with only one usable arm. I thought it was finally over, but it wasn't. Sam got back up and blocked Hamley as he tried to retrieve the Buddha's head. With the little strength I had left, I forced myself to stand and fought until that man was truly finished. Now, my strength was completely gone. I could only watch in shock as the boss was about to smash the Buddha's head with a hammer. At that moment, Hamley used his own body as a shield, protecting not only the Buddha's head, but honor itself. And whether it was divine intervention or mere coincidence, the massive Buddha head suddenly shifted and fell, crushing the boss beneath it. Through struggle and sacrifice, the Buddha's head finally returned to me. But none of this would have been possible without that man. Hamley, he was the true hero in my eyes. Yet it seemed this hero would not return to the village with me. He left only a message for his father and for May. And then Hamley took his final breath, as if Buddha himself had called him to heaven that day. Back to the village. I had gone through a long journey. The villagers were overjoyed by the return of the Buddha's head to the temple. I was grateful, I prayed, and I would never forget the true hero.